You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Now, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the nature of these beings. You said that they can be mischievous and sometimes downright nasty. It sounds like they have a very trickster-like nature, and you were explaining how at one point humans were supposed to be working with these beings, and we deceived them in many ways. So I can see how they can probably have reservations on presenting themselves to humans, but you hear the fairy folklore, the stories of humans disappearing and getting lost in different realms and maybe never even being seen again because they encountered one of these fairy beings. Do you think that is accurate? Do you think that there are encounters or situations where people can get lost in these fairy realms?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and even like when you talk about Bigfoot or Sasquatch or the skunk ape, whichever part of the country you come from, they all manipulate veils between the dimensions so they can travel quickly. Bob has a portal to England in our backyard because that's where he originated from. And we know where the portal is because he put it between these 5 trees. And that's kind of where he, kind of disappears when he goes in. We kind of avoid it. But yes, I mean, people can be even grabbed in through those by things. Like I said, Bigfoot uses them to manipulates them in order to camouflage. They're also able to mentally camouflage because they're not bogged down with monkey mind like we all have. We also have the ability to do that, but it has to be mastered, and most people can't master it. In addition to that, I've seen aliens manipulate the veils. Literally aliens with patients that I've had in the past that I suspected were hybrids, manipulating those same dimensions between the veils, thinking that they were camouflaging and using portals to come and go through. So absolutely, I think that could happen.
You mentioned pukwudgie and a couple of different other terms to describe these. Are these different types of entities that you're describing?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Bob has explained to us that he is what is called a Rokfin, and he always corrects me because he wants to make it clear that it's rock and then UN. So Rokfin, and what he explained is that his father was also a Rokfin, but his mother, and the Rokfin is the child of the rock. So what they do is they work with the ground, they work with the dirt, they work with the soil, they work with rocks and crystals. And actually they're very, very important because they are the base of everything that grows on top. So their job is very important. His mother, however, was of the trees, the grass, the flowers, and the things that grow. And normally a Rokfin doesn't get together with that. So there are some racial boundaries, for lack of a better word, or species boundaries. They normally don't get together, but his mother and father did, and he had 7 brothers and multiple sisters. But because he is biracial, for lack of a better word, he's kind of alone because he's half of 2 different species, for lack of a better word. And so he's been alone for all of this time. The thing about these Fae and elementals is they don't reincarnate like people do. They are formed at the time that the earth begins, and they live for a very, 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 very long time, and then they pass. Bob does believe in a source. He references source, so he does give credit for that for anybody, wondering about that. And I've also just want to say this for those people that are more galactically inclined. With some of the things that I have seen with people when they are actively transitioning and leaving their bodies at the time of death, I have been able to peer into what people call the other side, or maybe call heaven, or maybe call whatever. And there are not only spirit beings over there, but there are beings there that are from someplace else. And really, if you think about it, with as many galaxies there are, and stars that are sunshines, there have to be other species, other places, and it would be ignorant on our part to think that they're not. But when they finish out their lifetimes, they also need to go someplace, because we're energy, and energy can't be created or destroyed, if you even want to take it from a scientific, scientific instead of less woo-woo kind of thing. So, but yeah, they're both there. So everybody's right.
Right. Well, earlier you were talking about how this Fey entity appeared as your father and was trying to kind of fool you as this trickster intention whenever it first appeared to you. How can you discern between spirits of past loved ones and humans, and you mentioned demons earlier, and these other types of beings? Mm-hmm. How can you discern the difference?
Yeah, and also he showed up once as my sister, but the feeling, the energy was off. How I have learned to discern, it's very, very simple, and I want to share this with people. The thing about spirits are, especially the negative ones, is they feed off what we call loosh. Loosh is something that energetically we give off during more negative acts. When you're arguing or fighting, or you're feeling depressed, or you're watching porno, or you're stealing something, all of those create this loosh that lower level entities feed off of, and it enables them to do more physical acts. However, on the flip side of that, what I have found that works with all of them, including grays, when they come to approach and they try to cloak and mimic things, because a lot of them are trying to bait people at this time. If you center yourself into your heart and you radiate love into the room, it is repellent to those things. They thrive on the loosh and the negativity to be able to strengthen themselves to do more physical acts. And when you put love into the room versus the negative things, they hate it. They shrivel up like raisins. It disables them from doing anything, including attacking you. So you sit, you just focus on your heart. You see like sonar rings coming out of your heart with pink light, with shimmering pink light. And you think in your mind, love, 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 love. You can verbally say it if you want to, because we all get monkey minds sometimes that try to take you somewhere else. The thing about this is if a spirit is a loved one that has come to visit just to check in on you, they've already crossed over, they can come back and forth, they will relish in the love light because that's what they're about. So it won't make them leave. It'll make them come closer. If it's something negative or something mimicking, it will make them want to leave. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's very important right now. There are a lot of tricksters cloaking themselves because they need this invitation to stay. So if they approach someone as a child, for instance, or if they approach them as someone familiar, people are more apt to let them stay and not ask them to leave. And it's like the black-eyed children. They need that invitation. So, and this is very important. I have several psychics, excellent psychics. Katie Turner is one of them. She's very well known. Even she has mentioned recently that when she does readings for people, because she does talk to people on the other side, and she said that she has to go through certain things to make sure that the person that she is getting the messages from is actually that person. So my son had mentioned that he was sleeping one night, and my mother kind of comes in and checks in on him. She's been passed for quite a while, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he woke up and he's like, "Grandma, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got to get up in 2 hours and go to work. Can you come back at another time? This is not a good time." And he said that she was standing at the bed, smiling at him with 3 other people that he didn't recognize. And he got a little bit mad at her, and he said, "Grandma, I've got to go back to sleep," because she was insistent in standing at the side. And when she turned to walk away, she had this long reptilian tail. And he called me the next day and told me about it. And I said, "That wasn't Grandma. That was something else mimicking, wanting you to engage and let them stay." And thank goodness that he didn't. But even with that pink light shoves anything malevolent, anything of the lower levels away. It's repellent. They can't stand it.